Hi everybody and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you are returning, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate all of you so much. I can't even begin to tell you. And if you are new, welcome to my channel. My name's Corie. This is Crafted by Corie. I hope you'll consider hitting that subscribe button and ringing that bell so you get notified every time I upload a new video. And please be sure to give me a big thumbs up because it really does help support my channel. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into the crafting. DIY number 1. So this was my inspiration for this first project. It's something I saw on Pinterest, and I'm starting out with this box from Michaels. It was originally 99 cents, and my sister had picked it up for me when it was, I think, 20% off. So really great deal. And then I've got some scrapbook paper that you can see I had measured to fit, and I'm putting it on the bottom of the box with some Mod Podge. My friends at Plaid sent me that Mod Podge and a whole bunch of paints that I'll be using today. So very excited about that. So now I have a piece of foam core that I'm going to be measuring down, or cutting down I should say, but first I have a little decal that I created on my silhouette cameo, and I am just weeding that out, and of course it just says beach. Just a fun color, and yeah, just happy colors. So I am using my Arteza self-healing mat and my little Dollar Tree square to trim down the foam core board, this scrap piece of foam core board that I had from another project, and just cutting it down to the size that I want. I believe that box is 4x6, and so I had cut the foam core down to, I want to say it was about 3x2.5. I could be off there a little bit, but essentially you just want to make sure that you are giving yourself the amount of border that you want and that's pleasing to your eye. So I had applied my beach decal, and now I'm using some more Mod Podge to secure this down on top of the scrapbook paper. And I did not paint the foam core board. I just left it as is. I liked that nice bright white. And so I'm attaching this here, and then I am going to come in with my jute cord from Walmart and just apply that around the edge of the foam core board so it's got a nice finished edge. And then when I get back around to the bottom where I started, I'm going to trim that off and seal that down with my hot glue. Then I'm going to take a little piece, I'm just going to tie a knot. I decided I didn't want a bow here, I just want like a little knot. So cut that down, and I'm going to secure that right at that seam. And there you are. Such a simple, fun project. I have a lot more simple, fun, fast projects for you today. Let me know what you think of this. DIY number 2. For this project, I am using my, let's see if I can remember, Manilla rope. I always want to call it Milan. It's Manilla rope. And I had gotten this in a big spool off of Amazon. I believe I have a link for it in my description box. And this is something that's called a monkey fist. It's a special knot that you can tie. And the instructions that I had said to wrap it 3 times. And so it's 3 times around, and then 3 times the opposite way around those loops, then 3 times through the original loops around the second set of loops. Hopefully you're understanding by watching what I'm doing. So, and then they recommend putting a ball inside of there and pulling it tight. Now, when I used the 3 loop method, if you will, I found that I was able to still see a lot of that tennis ball in there. So as I was tightening it. And this is not a difficult knot to do. I would say it just takes a little patience when it comes time to tighten it. especially if you're using a rope like this that kind of catches on itself. It doesn't slide real easily. But you can see as I'm getting it tight, I'm like, there's not enough coverage here. So I took it all apart and I decided I was going to do 5 loops instead. So you can see I'm wrapping around my hand 5 times, and this is loosely around my hand. I'm making sure I'm keeping it loose. Now I'm going to take it around the middle, so wrapping it 5 times around, and I'm trying to keep all of the rope lined up as I do this. So now once I have my 5, I'm going to take the end of it and loop it through the bottom loop and then up through the top loop, but around the second set of loops that I had created. I hope this is making sense, and I hope you can tell from what I'm doing here. But I will leave a link to the instructions that I used in the description box. So if this is something you'd like to create yourself, it's basically pictures with arrows and directions on how to do it. And hopefully between that and what you can see me doing here, you'll get it pretty easily, I hope. If I can do it, you can do it. So I went ahead and kept on keeping on, getting my loops all set. Hopefully you can see now a little bit easier what I'm talking about going in through those loops and around the other. So hopefully this is making a little bit more sense now that it's starting to take shape a little bit. So once you get it there, you're going to pop your ball in. And it doesn't have to be a tennis ball. I just happen to have a lot of tennis balls around because my pup Sammy just loves to play catch. And so my dad sent me all of his old tennis balls. So I had an extra one that I could pop in there. And so then I went to work at just tightening it up, and I was just continuing to pull those ropes around or push them through. And it's kind of a push and pull and just following the whole line of rope to get it tightened. Again, if you have a smoother rope that you're working with, this probably would tighten up a little bit easier. Now, as I was doing it, I pulled one loop free, and I decided I kind of liked the way that looked, having like a handle on it that wasn't tied in a knot. So I went with that, so you can see that loop sticking out there, and then I trimmed off the ends and just tucked them in so that you can't even really see where it starts and where it ends. And this is my monkey knot, or my monkey fist, and I love this. I was so happy with myself. But leave me a comment and let me know what you think. Hi again. I hope that you're enjoying the project so far. If you do, please give me a big thumbs up. I really appreciate your support because it does help YouTube to recognize me. And Sammy wants your support too. But it helps YouTube to recognize me and promote my video and helps me to grow. So I really sincerely appreciate that support. And just a reminder that today is part of the Crafted by Corie Minis Challenge. So excited for all of the decor and inspiration for your tiered trays. And the next Minis Challenge is going to be the theme of summer, happening on May 21st at 1 p.m. Eastern. I hope that you will join me then. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get right back into the crafting. DIY number 3. So this is my inspiration for the next project. It's from Kirklands, and they had these 3 little bud vases that I thought were super cute. And I've had these sitting on my shelf. I actually have 3 of them, but they're all the same shape, so I figured I would just do one. So I cleaned it off real well with my baby wipe, and then I dried it off with a paper towel, and I'm coming in with some Mod Podge because actually more than one of my sweet subscribers had shared with me that if you apply some Mod Podge or a clear coat of spray paint or something first to a shiny surface like this or to glass, your chalk paint or whatever type of paint you're using will adhere a little bit better. So I figured I would go for it. So once that Mod Podge was dry, I went ahead and gave it a coat of Plaster chalk paint. This is by Waverly, which is a Plaid product. And I don't know what was going on, but I kept losing the little hairs out of my paintbrush. My paintbrush was like falling apart on me as I was trying to paint this. So I went for another paintbrush and problem was solved. But so I went ahead and gave this a couple of coats. I did use my heat gun in between, and so I did start getting that crackle effect a little bit here and there, but I was really okay with that because it made it look aged, and I actually liked the effect. So now I'm coming in with a little foam dauber. I think that's what it's called, just a round foam. I don't want to say brush, it's not a brush, but hopefully you know what I mean. And I am just dabbing on my Nantucket blue chalk paint I love this color. It always makes me think of the beach in New England, and that's it, you guys. So simple and so cute. Give me a thumbs up if you like this project. DIY number 4. This was my inspiration. This was from Pinterest again for this next project. And so I am using from the Dollar Tree this little cutout from last year. I had a pack, it was like 6 in the pack, and I had only used a few of them. So I have that little ship wheel, and then my little, I don't think that's a pallet. What would you call that? But that's a little Dollar Tree thingy. I also have some wood beads, and I have my antique wax that I am going to apply now with a baby wipe. So it's my Waverly antique wax, using the baby wipe to just smear it on and remove the excess. And once I had the whole thing covered as best as I could, I did grab a little brush and got in between the spaces where I wasn't able to get with the baby wipe. So once that was all set, I took my twine, and I don't remember where I got this twine from. It might have been from Walmart or the Dollar Tree. I'm not really sure. It's been in my stash for a while. But I tied just a simple knot around one of those little braces, I'll call it, and I am threading on one of my wood beads. And I'm gonna make sure both ends of my twine are through the bead, and then I'm just going to create a knot there that is large enough to keep the bead from moving. So I did go through and knot it a couple of times and just made sure that my bead was secure. And then I'm going to thread on another bead and tie the other end to the other side of that brace, if you will. I don't know what else to call it other than a brace. It's the piece of wood that is keeping the rest of the little slats together at the back. So then I threaded the twine back up through the bead, and I am knotting all of that off on that side as well, just to make sure everything is nice and secure. And then I'll go ahead and trim off my ends, and I'll do the same exact thing with the other side, so the bottom part, if you will. So tying that off, and I'm just going to speed right through this. So once I had all that set, I am ready to apply my little ship's wheel. I'm trying to decide how I want to have it arranged on here. And then I figured out exactly where the glue would need to go, and I did just use my hot glue for this. If you want a better long-term bond, the wood glue would work really well, or even like 6000, I think, works on glue as well. Now I'm coming in with mineral chalk paint, and I was loving how this turned out. It's really hard, I think, to see on camera, but it really gave it that nice weathered, aged look, and I just loved it. So here I am admiring it, and yes. So let me know what you think of this cute little piece. So winners, it's time to announce our winners for the rub-on transfers. Congratulations to Leslie Horton, Lynn Eversley, and Michelle G. Make sure you email me by Sunday night to claim your prize. DIY number 5. So for this project, I have this other little cutout from the Dollar Tree. It came in that same pack as my little ship's wheel, and I've given it a coat of the mineral chalk paint as well. And now I'm coming in with some of my apple barrel colors that Plaid has sent me. I have a red, and then I have this brushed metal color that I came across in my little stash that they had sent me. And what I really wanted to do was try to come up with a rust color, and I don't have, so I know Holly from Hot Humble Pie is always talking about burnt umber, and I do not have the burnt umber, so I figured I was going to just try and figure out another way for this to look like metal. So I had started with the mineral. I'm now adding on the brushed metal, and I'm kind of mixing it with the mineral because the mineral wasn't entirely dry at this point. So now I am taking some of my red and trying to mix it in with the brushed metal, and it was turning more pink on me. So I went ahead and grabbed out my black, and I'm going to add a teeny tiny bit of black and trying to see if that might tone down the pink and bring it more to a rust color. It still wasn't doing what I wanted, so I went ahead and I grabbed some orange that they had also sent me, and I'm going to add a little bit of orange to that, and eventually I do get it to what I think of as a nice kind of rusty brownish color. And so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to focus mainly on the edges of our little anchor here, but really pretty much putting this rusty color anywhere I think you might see rust on an anchor. And you know, anchors spend a lot of time in the salt water or in the regular water, I guess, if you have a freshwater boat, and they get rusty. So I'm just kind of hitting it up pretty liberally. I'm sorry, my hand is right in the way. I'm going to show you a little bit better in just a second. But just going over it until I get it to a place that is pleasing to my eye, as I always say. So this is just a way for you to be creative and make something your own, and yeah, so do it the way that you like. And now I am going to go ahead and take some twine, and I'm going to go ahead and knot this up at the top, and then I continued to knot the shorter strand around the long strand, if you will, because I just wanted to kind of make like a chain type of look, I guess, to it. So here I'm just figuring out my initial knot, the way that I wanted it secured on there, and then I'm just going to tie a few more knots up that length of twine, if you will. And while I'm doing that, I just want to say thank you to all of my wonderful subscribers and all of the love and support you guys have continued to bestow upon me, all of the comments, and I am so sorry that I have been behind on responding to all of you, but I do want to assure you that I appreciate every single comment, and I do read them. I've just been so busy lately with everything that's going on in my world, and so thank you for your patience with me as I get through the comments, and I hope you'll forgive my tardiness, but thank you again so much for the support. I really do appreciate you. But let me know what you think of this cute little anchor. DIY number 6. So this is my inspiration. This is also from Kirklands. I thought it was so pretty. Now, I don't have a clear glass vase, or not vase, candle holder that is that type of shape, but I did have this kind of bumpy one from the Dollar Tree. So again, another really quick, cute project. Using my hot glue, I am going to attach some of my jute twine to the top of this on either side. And then once I have both sides secured, and I'm using my awesome finger protectors that my subscribers sent me, I'm going to go ahead and apply some thinner twine around the whole top of this votive holder. And so I'm just securing it with some more hot glue, and then I'm going to just wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap until I get it to where I want it to be. I did go down, wrapping from the lip down for probably about a ½ inch, and then I came back up again and wrapped it back around, so it had 2 layers of the twine. But you can do it again, do it however you like it, and just using a tiny little bit of the hot glue so that it wouldn't be perceptible. And there's our little candle holder. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now it's time for a shout out timeout. Beautiful Bobby, my sweet subscriber Corie, has sent these in for her godmother. And awesome Valerie, such sweet projects. Thank you for sharing. And really nice Robbie, these are just beautiful. And lovely Linda, she was inspired by the official craft nerd Hot Humble Pie and Loving Life's Journey. And so pretty Bobby G. We had 2 Bobbies today. Thank you so much for sharing all of the projects with us. If you would like to have a shout out, I would love to hear from you. Please send me an email at craftedbycorie@gmail.com and I'll be happy to share your projects too. DIY number 7. So this was my inspiration for this next project. You'll have to tell me if this one is actually a fail because I'm still not sure how I feel about this one. But I am using one of these vases from the Dollar Tree, and I am also using from the Dollar Tree the faux leather ribbon, and I'm securing it with hot glue. I'm starting out with my bands that are going around the circumference, is that what you would say? Around the perimeter? You can see what I'm doing. I am attaching them around the vase and I guess about 1/3 of the way down and then about 2/3 of the way down, and just securing them a couple of times in a couple of spots around the vase. So now I'm coming in and going to do an angled crisscross kind of dealy with the same faux leather ribbon, and again just using my hot glue to secure everything in place. And eventually I actually ran out of this chocolate faux leather ribbon. This took more ribbon than I had anticipated, and I wasn't sure, honestly, how much I had left on the roll. If you do want to attempt this, I probably used the equivalent of 2 full rolls of the ribbon, and I think they are 9-foot spools, if I'm not mistaken. So when I ran out of the chocolate, I went and grabbed the other color that I had, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go for it. We'll see how it looks. At least it was symmetrical with what I already had on there, so I just went for it. So we have a 2-toned piece here. So going ahead and continuing on and just putting everything in at an angle, starting at the top and working my way around to the bottom and just having everything crisscross. So it's got kind of a cool pattern. Once I had all of that done, I went ahead and started adding a piece around the top, and I'm just securing the bottom half of the ribbon. Hopefully you can see what I'm doing here, and I'm pulling it tight because I'm going to end up folding it around the lip to give a finished edge at the top. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm just pulling it tight as I can without having it slide up off of the vase. And then once I got to the end, I went ahead and started securing it inside the vase. So needed some more hot glue. So taking my hot glue and adding that to the inside and just wrapping that around the lip of the vase all the way around. So then I wanted to just add one more piece of ribbon at the base of that just to cover up that edge and just make it a little bit more substantial because it was just a really small edge right there. Hopefully you can kind of see it there and see what I mean. So I just wanted to just add one more layer and have it be a little bit thicker at the top there. Hopefully that makes sense. So once I had all of that secured at the top, I did go in and I added a band to the bottom as well. Just more hot glue and just making sure that everything is nice and secured along the bottom there to finish off that edge. Trying my best to get as close to the inspiration piece as I can. So now I have this one last piece of the faux leather ribbon that I am trimming down to make for that little faux handle, if you will. And I just curved the edges on either side. And now I am figuring out where I want to place them. And I'm going to secure those with some hot glue as well. Just a little tiny dab on either side to make sure that they are nice and secure. And once I have that done, I am grabbing these little brass thumbtacks from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to clip off the little pokey part. And I am going to then use these as little brads on either side of the lantern. And they still had a little bit of a pokey thingy there, so they kind of stuck right into the faux leather ribbon. But I did use some hot glue there just to make sure everything was nice and secure and not going to be going anywhere. And just a reminder, this is metal, so it does get hot with the hot glue, so make sure you use your finger protector so you don't burn yourself in there. And there it is. So like I said, jury's out on this one, but let me know what you think in the comments. DIY number 8. So I have another one of those little wood cutouts, and I've got a bunch of my paint colors from Plaid, and I am starting out with this really beautiful blue color, and it was just making me so happy. I love this color. So I then came in and painted my sails white. And I am doing both sides of these because I am just going to be having this lean up on my little tier tray. And so I just want to make sure both sides are equally pretty. So once I had my sail painted and completely dry, I am coming in with another shade. I think this is like a seafoam green color. It's so pretty. And I am painting, I don't know, do you call these racing stripes for a boat? I don't really know what you would call these on a sail. If you happen to be a sailor and know what these stripes might be called, if anything, let me know in the comments. But I just went ahead and painted on a wide band, and I made sure to take it up around the other side of the sail because the sail is two-sided and you would see the stripes on either side of the sail. And then I did come in and create another smaller stripe just to make it a little bit more interesting. So I've got my wide stripe and my narrow stripe. And then I went ahead and carried those stripes across the other sail. So once I had that all nice and dry, I'm just checking that it's dry there. I'm coming in with my sanding block from the Dollar Tree, just because I did want it to be a little bit aged. It looked too bright and too new and too shiny penny, you know? So I'm just coming in and distressing it with my sanding block. And there you have it. Let me know what you think. DIY number 9. So this was only inspiration insofar as it reminded me that I had a cute little elephant that needed some love waiting to be painted on my shelf. It doesn't really go with coastal decor, which is really the theme, but I figured, you know what? She can look super pretty and cute on my tiered tray no matter what I have on it. And I've always heard that elephants are supposed to be good luck, especially if their trunks are facing a door. So that's my plan. So I'm coming in, I'm using the mineral chalk paint again, and I am giving her a really good coat, making sure I've got her completely covered. And then I'm coming in with elephant chalk paint. So, I know I'm probably not as funny as I think I am, but anyway, I am just using a very dry brush to apply some of the elephant chalk paint because I just wanted to bring out this texture. There's a pattern that is in the clay, or whatever it is that you would call this, pottery, clay, ceramic, but I wanted to be able to see that little design, so hopefully you can see it a little bit better. And I did come in and paint her little tail as well. Now I'm coming in with some black to give her some eyes and just making nice little round eyes on either side of her head, and I'm going to be just checking and making sure that I'm getting them lined up properly and nice and even in the same size. And once her little eyes were completely dry with the black, I'm actually going to come in just a second with white. So you can see me with the white. I'm taking a little tiny bit. And this is just my little, I don't even know what that tool is called. Is it an embosser? It might be an embossing tool. But I just took a little tiny bit of white and put some light in her eyes. And now you can see I'm coming in with just a little flower that she's going to be able to hold in her trunk. As you could see, I was trying to use hot glue and using my little tool there again to try and secure it. It didn't hold, so I'm taking the glue off. I'm trying one more time. Ultimately, I did go back in and use E6000 instead because the hot glue just wasn't cutting it for this. But I thought she was super cute. So let me know what you think in the comments. I love elephants. I love all animals. They're just so sweet. What's your favorite animal? Let me know in the comments. DIY number 10. So this was my inspiration. If you've been watching me lately, you know I've kind of gone a little Garland crazy. But I found these beads already painted on Amazon and I fell in love with them and I had to have them. And here, I don't know why I am counting them. I'm like, how many beads are in each of these? It's 40. If I had looked at the box, it's a 160-piece set. There are 40 of each. Yeah, 4, is that right? No, 100 and, oh my goodness, I can't do math. 40 times 4, yes, 160, I was right. So I'm starting out with my beads. I always like to start with 3 of one color on either end of my garland. Don't know why, I just kind of like to have it start and stop that way. So that was what I did, and then I started with a pattern. So the pattern that I was doing is, obviously I was trying to go light to a little bit darker to the darkest and then back again, and I just was looking at this and I really wasn't thrilled with the way that it was looking. It wasn't what I had in mind. So I'm looking at it and I'm like, yeah, I'm not liking this. So I took it apart and I started over and realized I probably could have left those first 3 beads on there, but I just went ahead and started again. So now I'm alternating the colors with the white and the natural tones, and I was much happier with this version of the pattern. So again, you know, this sort of thing, you can create it however you'd like and however is pleasing to your eye. So now I am looking for a shell. I didn't have a sand dollar like the inspiration picture. I thought about using a starfish, but the ones that I have are much too large. And so I really loved this seashell, and there was little kind of an edge to it that I thought maybe I could catch with my twine. It wasn't having it. So eventually I settled for one of these, I think they're scallop shells. And once I settled on the scallop shell that I was going to use, I went ahead and wrapped my twine around the base of it, and yeah, I wasn't going to settle for that one apparently. So I went through and I dug out a bunch of them, and I finally settled on one that was a little bit larger and a little bit more neutral. So went ahead and wrapped all my twine around the little base of the shell, and then I tied it off so that it was nice and secure. And then I was able to just slide my beads down to the base of the little shell and slid all of my beads all the way down so that everything was nice and tight on my garland. Then I went ahead and I left a little bit of a tail. And now I am trying to figure out how to do my tassel, and here I am with my little sweethearts box. So hey, whatever works, right? It was about the right size. I did have a continuation in that twine. There was like a knot where the twine like ended and then started again, so I just cut that out at a spot that I knew I was going to be clipping anyway on my tassel. Hopefully that makes sense. So then I just started it again. I do not know how many times I went around. I think it was probably about 30. But then I took another piece of twine, slid it in underneath all of the strands and tied it nice and tight at the top. Took it off my box, and now I am lining it all up so that I can go ahead and finish my tassel. Now I forgot to tuck in those little strands at the top here, and then I remembered after I started, so I'm like, oops, I need to do that. So I tucked them down, that way I don't have anything sticking up and out on my tassel. Just wrap that around probably 8 or 10 times. And I'm using that little method that I've done in the past where I had left a loop. So I'm tucking my end through the loop and then I'm able to pull it tight. Now, if you are not familiar with tassels and this method that I learned from Anika at Craft, Eat, Repeat, I will leave the link to the video where I go through it in my description box. So I am just using my embroidery needle to help thread the tassel onto the end of my garland and tying that off. And then I'm going to take my needle and run it up through the first 4 or so beads so that I can tuck that away in there and that nobody will see the end that was tied. And that's it. I love this garland. Let me know what you think. And here we are with the final reveal. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed the projects. If you did, please give me a big thumbs up because it really does help support my channel. YouTube will help promote me and helps me grow if they see that you have liked my videos. So if you did not already hit that subscribe button, I hope that you will come visit with me again sometime soon, and be sure to hit that bell so you get notified when I upload a new video. And be sure to check out the playlist. Today again is the Minis Challenge, so I hope that you'll go and get all kinds of inspiration from the other crafters who have joined me here today. Until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Bye.